I picked up a kid on the side of the road. The kid was pretty sharp. He even remembered his brother's phone number. I pulled out my phone and dialed. "Hello? Your little brother's with me right now." The person on the other end was momentarily speechless, realizing how wrong that sounded. I hurried to explain. "I mean, you know what I mean." Later, his brother showed up, in uniform. I looked at the adorable little boy squatting there, munching on candied hawthorn, and felt my heart seize. Somewhere on my way home from work, a tail had latched on. By the time I noticed, he couldn't find his way home. "Hey, buddy, do you remember where you live?" He blinked those big eyes. "No." I tried again. "Do you know your mom or dad's phone number?" He shook his head. I sighed and was about to call the police when he tugged at my sleeve. "I remember my brother's number." I nearly cried with relief. In this freezing weather, I was dreaming of my warm bed. The kid rattled off the digits cleanly. After confirming with him once more, I dialed. It rang maybe 3 times before someone picked up. "Hello? Who's this?" Whoa, what a voice. As a voice junkie, I admired it for a second, then got to the point. Your little brother's with me." On the other end? Great. I've clearly been watching too many crime shows. I rushed to clarify. "You get what I'm trying to say, right?" Flustered, my tongue got all twisted. While I was fumbling, the kid snatched the phone. I froze. The next second, he wailed like a banshee. "Brother, brother! Come quick! I'm so scared!" With that, how was I supposed to explain? I reached to grab the phone back, but the kid had already hit hang up. A gust of cold wind cut through. I stood there, alone, a mess in the breeze. His brother came still in uniform. I almost dropped to my knees on the spot. Not gonna lie, he was gorgeous. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, and a face straight off a counter-terror poster that killed me instantly. Even his hair was exactly my type. But there was no time to dwell. He loomed over me, and I very sensibly raised both hands. "Officer, I'm a law-abiding citizen." He glanced down at the boy, clinging to his leg, then looked up and smiled. "I know. You're the one who found him, right?" I nodded. He took off the scarf, wrapped around the kid's neck, and handed it back to me. What kind of bad guy gifts their hostage their own scarf? His smile was a little devastating. Heat rushed to my cheeks. "I'm Jason. If you don't mind, could I buy you dinner? Also, we're probably the same age. Calling me uncle doesn't really fit, does it?" Dinner didn't happen, because Jason got an urgent call and hurried off with the kid. Before he left, we added each other on WeChat. Watching that handsome back walk away, I couldn't help thinking, sweet new material for tonight's dreams. I didn't expect to see Jason again so soon. 1 week later, in the morning, bundled in my coat, I headed for the subway and got sidetracked by all the street snacks. The stalls were packed, so I zeroed in on an empty jianbing stand. "Boss, 1 jian, huh?" I stared at the tall guy in an apron in front of me. Stunned. He looked damn familiar. And he didn't seem surprised at all, greeting me with a smile. "On your way to work?" The moment he spoke, it clicked. Jason. I recovered fast, took in his getup. Plainclothes cop. Holy crap, did I just stumble into something this exciting? I suddenly got a little nervous. You're busy. I'll get out of your hair," he called after me. "Don't be nervous, nothing's going on right now." "So, what'll it be?" I hesitated for a few seconds, then said, "1 multigrain jianbing, and add a sausage." Jason smiled. "Got it." 10 seconds later, I reminded him, "You haven't turned the burner on." He blinked. That explains why it wasn't heating up. Watching his clumsy hands, I had my doubts. 10 minutes later, he handed me something that barely qualified as food. I held that singular jianbing and fell into deep thought. I, of course, said nothing. He hadn't even charged me. I walked off with it. And before I'd gone far, my phone buzzed. "I still owe you that dinner. Free tonight." Grinning at Jason's WeChat, I couldn't stop the corners of my mouth from lifting. I bit into the jianbing without thinking. The smile froze. How many layers of sauce did Jason slather on? Way too salty. That evening after work, Jason called right on time. He asked to meet at a Chinese restaurant. I arrived, and about 10 minutes later he rushed in. It was snowing outside. His hair was damp. Sorry I'm late. I quickly handed him a napkin. It's fine. I just got here too. The place was low-key. My kind of vibe. Jason sat across from me and had just passed me the menu when two people walked in laughing, a man and a woman. Just my rotten luck. Of all places to run into that jerk. My ex, Tony, who spent a year emotionally manipulating me, and his saccharine, two-faced new girlfriend. I probably looked like I'd swallowed a handful of flies. Jason glanced at me. What's wrong? Before I could answer, I heard Tony's punchable voice. Well, if it isn't Isabel. He gave Jason a lazy once-over. What's this? Moved on already? Damn it, my fists clenched. Was I really about to start swearing in front of Jason? The inner struggle was brutal. And, of course, Miss Two-Faced had to stir the pot. He looks familiar, doesn't he? Kinda like the guy selling jianbing outside my building. No way. She lives in my complex? I shot Jason a look. He subtly shook his head. Funny thing. Just seeing his face. The fire in me went out. I smiled sweetly at Tony and Miss Two-Faced. Nosy, aren't you? If a sewage truck rolled by, you two would still sample it to check the seasoning, huh? Tony's face darkened. He was about to mouth off when a server intervened. Mr. Tony, your table's over there. This way, please. People were already staring. Tony coughed awkwardly and dragged Miss Two-Faced away, throwing me a nasty glare on his way out. Can't blame him, he hates my guts. When we broke up, I printed his heroic deeds in giant letters and pasted them on his company's bulletin board. Tisk. I didn't even bring my A-game just now. I looked up, ready to say something to Jason, only to find him staring after Miss Two-Faced, lost in thought. My mood tanked. He noticed me looking and snapped back. I know that woman. Huh? He said, she's the one I've been staking out by your building the past few days. Jason added, it's a case. I can't tell you much. I nodded quickly to show I got it. Ignoring the bad taste Tony left behind, I actually thought this dinner was pretty nice. Jason was great at keeping the conversation going. There was never an awkward silence. In the end, he even walked me home. God, I'm hopeless against polite men like that. What do I do? I think I'm kind of falling for him. Jason's pretty busy with work, so we don't chat much. But every time we do, it's really fun. That Saturday, Jason sent me a message. Are you off today? Me. Yeah. Him. Then you'd better stay in. Totally out of the blue. But I had no choice. My period had just started and I was out of supplies, so I had to hit the little supermarket in the complex. I had just walked past 2 apartment buildings when a pair of bright red boxes dropped out of the sky and smacked me right on the head. Who the hell does that? Seriously throwing stuff out the window? And red underwear, no less. Fuming. I looked up, only to lock eyes with Tony on the 5th floor. I gave him the deadpan old man on the subway, staring at his phone. Look. Really, Tony? Petty revenge like this? But his face looked off. His expression was frantic. I glanced down at the boxes in my hand. There were words on them. Help me. The next second, someone yanked Tony back inside by the hair. Another figure leaned toward the window, about to peek out. I darted into the corner by the wall and crouched down. What the hell? I didn't waste a second. I dialed Jason and told him everything in detail. His voice was low. Where are you? I glanced around. Squatting downstairs. He told me to stay put, got the address, then said, don't be scared. I'm on my way. Damn, that sense of security. My heart was racing. The cops showed up fast and slipped inside without a sound. A few minutes later, crash, bang, scuffle upstairs, then a group of people in handcuffs was marched out. A crowd had gathered under the building. I stood off to the side, watching. What's going on? An auntie said. Looks like some pyramid scheme, folks. They got busted all at once. I nearly jumped. Pyramid scheme? While we were talking, the handcuffed crew was shoved into police cars. Jason came out of the stairwell, and even among a crowd of cops, his tall frame stood out. Except he had someone slung over him. Tony. The neighborhood aunties started whispering to me. That guy. His girlfriend was running the scheme. He got tricked into it. I blinked. How do you even know that? Meanwhile, Tony was bawling as they dragged him down. For some reason, I found him even more unbearable. Jason glanced around, then strode right up to me. You okay? I froze. Yeah, I'm fine. He looked down, then suddenly snatched the red boxes from my hand. This is evidence. I've got to take it back. My face flamed. I stammered. Oh, okay. I didn't even notice the way the aunties around us were staring with sparkling eyes. Young man, how old are you? Have you married yet? Where do you live? In no time, Jason was surrounded by a ring of enthusiastic aunties, and I was completely shoved out of the circle. Apparently, their eyes worked just like mine. That gave me a strange, prickling sense of crisis. And that wasn't even the end of it. The next day, the crisis peaked. When the incident hit the news, the online comments were totally off topic. Everyone was posting, "That cop in black is so hot. Can the government assign me a boyfriend like that? Damn, all the handsome ones really do belong to the country." The guy they were talking about was Jason. Some even clipped stills of him. And me? I was the pixelated extra in the background. My chest hurt. So it wasn't just me, everyone saw it. Jason really was that popular. This won't do. I'm the one closest to the water, and I still haven't gotten the moon. Fired up, I grabbed my phone and stared at our chat window. Typed something, deleted it, typed again, deleted again. Ugh, coward, as the phone buzzed. A message from Jason. I shot up in bed, eyes wide at what he wrote. Are you free tomorrow? I typed back, I am. What's up? Watching the typing. Bubble, blink. I realized I'd never found waiting so torturous. Can I trouble you with something? The next day, I found myself staring at the little boy in front of me, lost in thought. Yep, the same kid I picked up before. His name was Jack, Jason's little brother. Hey, Jack, want to go to the amusement park with me today? Jack looked up at me. Where's my brother? I patted his head. He's got something to do, but he'll come get you this afternoon. Jason said the housekeeper had the day off, and he had work, so he really had no choice but to ask me. He'd just been transferred here and didn't know many people yet. And me, being a model citizen of the new era, of course I said yes without hesitation. Honestly, I was a little bummed. If only I could have taken one big kid and one little kid together, that'd be perfect. While I was buying tickets, Jack was staring at a girl nearby eating cotton candy. I followed his gaze, crouched down, and asked, Jack, want one? He nodded. I smiled. Okay, I'll get you one. Just as I was about to go, Jack tugged on my sleeve and fixed me with a serious look. Brother says child trafficking is illegal. Okay, so your brother really knows how to teach kids. He said it loud too. With all these people around, I instantly drew a barrage of dagger eyes. A kind-looking uncle eyed me suspiciously, then bent down to Jack. Do you even know her, kid? Jack looked at me and answered honestly. Not really. The uncle pressed. Do you know her name? Jack shook his head. No. See, kids don't always have to be this honest. I asked the uncle, do you think I'm a child trafficker? Maybe because no trafficker would be this straightforward. He gave me a startled look. Then he muttered, these days, traffickers like girls, just like you. Don't think I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell if that was an insult or a compliment. He grabbed Jack's arm, refusing to let me take him. Then what's his full name? Me. Jack. Full name? Don't know. But I really do know him, honestly. I was starting to doubt myself. I really did look suspicious. Just as the standoff dragged on, Jason's voice sounded behind me. "Isabel? Jack?" He was smiling. "I've been looking all over for you two." Now that was the voice of heaven. "Brother!" Jack ran happily into Jason's arms. One look and anyone could tell they were real brothers. The uncle finally relaxed. He asked Jason, "Do you know this young lady?" Oh my God. Uncle was the definition of concerned citizen. I almost wanted to give him an award. Jason glanced at me. "Yeah, she's my girlfriend." My eyes widened. The uncle was surprised too. "But she doesn't seem that close to your little brother," Jason explained. "We just started dating yesterday." The uncle suddenly understood and quickly apologized to me. I waved my hands again and again. After all, the uncle meant well. Once he left, I let out a long breath. "Sorry," Jason said. "I only called you my girlfriend because explaining the truth would have been too complicated." Complicated? Honestly, I didn't think so. "But hey, I wasn't complaining. Looked to me like I was the one making out like a bandit." I stifled my laugh. I had to stay composed. Jason said things at work had wrapped up smoothly, so he came to join us. He took Jack and me around the amusement park. We tried everything. I swear, it was the most fun weekend I'd ever had. Of course, there were some little hiccups. With so many people around, there were bound to be pickpockets. Jason caught 3. The heroic aura around him just blazed even brighter. God, I was so smitten. Should I confess now? No, too sudden. But what if it worked? It didn't seem like he disliked me. Watching Jason off in the distance, surrounded by grateful citizens, I was biting my nails down to nothing. Inside, 2 little voices were battling it out. When Jason came back, I asked, "Do you do that often?" He looked at me. "Do what?" I gestured with my hands. "You know, fighting for justice." He chuckled. "Just doing what I can." "What about you? Don't you ever?" I thought about it. I can at least help old ladies cross the street. A thought flashed through my mind, and I couldn't help laughing. "Speaking of good deeds, I actually did one once." Jason smiled. "Let's hear it." I lowered my voice mysteriously. "Back then, I saved a troubled kid. I was a sophomore in high school. My parents were super strict. If I slipped even a little on an exam, they'd scold me to death. I still remember results day for the monthly test. I had dropped 15 spots. After school, I was too scared to go home, so I wandered the streets alone. I figured I'd wait until my parents cooled off. As I roamed, night fell. I wandered up onto a bridge, and honestly, the night view was pretty nice. The evening wind was chilly but refreshing. I squinted, humming a little tune. My mood lifted. Just as I was about to leave, I caught something in the corner of my eye. A shadow crouched to my left. Holy crap! I jumped. "Whose dog is that?" "You're the dog." A boy's fierce voice startled me again. I swear I wasn't trying to insult him. He was so skinny, all curled up, like a stray pup. He looked a few years younger than me. Being the nosy type, I called out, "Hey, little brother, what are you doing here?" He barked at me. "Get lost." Well, I've got a temper too. Who did he think he was? I shot him a glare and turned to leave. But a few steps away, my sharp ears caught the faint sound of sobbing. No way was he crying. I turned back. He slowly stood up, his head lowered, eyes fixed on the dark water. Oh no, I instantly knew what he was about to do. Dropping my backpack, I lunged forward and tackled him before he could jump. I was furious for no real reason, so I unleashed every curse I'd learned from my parents, scolding him for 20 minutes straight. By the end, he looked dazed. I let out a long breath. Mission accomplished. Later, watching him scarf down food like there was no tomorrow, I glanced at my empty wallet. Great. My entire week's allowance. Gone. Maybe my stare was too pitiful, because he choked, then coughed, and said, "I'll pay you back." Yeah, right. I didn't buy it. Forget it. I propped my head on my hand. Let's just call it my treat. I asked him why he'd tried to jump, but he stayed silent. Asked his name, no answer. Finally, I snapped. Didn't you say you'd pay me back? How can I find you if you won't even tell me your name? He froze, then glanced at the name tag on my chest. I'll remember you. I'll pay you back. Oh, I wanted to smack him. As I left, I turned back once. He was standing under a dim street lamp, stomping his feet. Late autumn was chilly, and he was dressed far too thin. I'd already walked a ways, but couldn't help going back. In the end, I gave him a scarf, and my allowance for the following week. Jason looked at me, silent. My face flushed, heart pounding. What? He turned away. And then, I thought for a moment. That was it. I never saw him again. But I think he must be doing okay now, Jason asked. Why do you think that? I shrugged. Don't know. Just a feeling. He seemed different. Jack played until it was dark, before finally agreeing to go home. Jason drove us back to my building. Before I got out, he pulled a bag from the car. I blinked. What's that? He smiled. A gift. I leaned over curiously, but before I could see, Jason's hand covered my eyes. Check it at home. His scent washed over me, making my cheeks burn. I practically bolted, avoiding his gaze. Back home, I leaned against the wall to steady myself. Isabel, you're doomed! Jason's got you wrapped around his finger. My eyes shifted to the gift bag. Curiosity bubbled up. What could it be? He'd been so secretive. Carefully, I opened it and pulled out an old scarf. What the hell, Jason? I stared at the scarf, lost in thought. Jason's POV. There was an opening at the unit to transfer to Huangjiang City. I applied without hesitation. When I left, one of my seniors came to see me off. He clapped my shoulder. Jason, you're really going? Why all of a sudden? I was gonna introduce my daughter to you. You know she just graduated college. I said, I already like someone. Have for years. She's in Huangjiang. My senior looked at me in surprise. Later, I heard that back at my old unit, when they mentioned me, they didn't use my name anymore. They called me the lovesick fool. But I wasn't lovesick. I was a coward. I secretly followed Isabel's Weibo for 3 years, never daring to send even one DM. If that's not cowardice, what is? I never thought I'd meet Isabel in that situation. She came out of the subway in a black coat. For a moment, I froze. Jack tugged my hand. Come on, brother. Let's go. This time I was taking Jack to his extracurricular class. But suddenly I felt that if I let tonight slip by, I might never see Isabel again. The thought hit me out of nowhere, and panic followed. I looked down at 5-year-old Jack. I crouched to his level. Jack, see that pretty sister in black? Jack nodded. I smiled. If I buy you candied hawthorn, will you do me a favor? Kids are easy to bribe. 1 skewer was enough. Jack trailed behind Isabel, while I followed from a distance. About 10 minutes later, Isabel finally noticed the little tag-along. She asked a few people, but no one answered. I saw her start talking to Jack. Not gonna lie, I got a little nervous. Did Jack memorize my phone number? When the unknown number rang, I nearly dropped my phone. Hello? I tried to sound normal, but Isabel didn't play by the rules. She said, Your brother's with me. I barely kept from laughing. In the distance, the girl stomped her foot in frustration. Kind of cute. After the call ended, I saw Isabel take off her scarf and carefully wrap it around Jack's neck. That moment took me straight back to the first time I met her. She'd given me a scarf then too. When the timing felt right, I finally walked over. Everything went smoothly. I got her WeChat. I had meant to invite her to dinner, but work called with something urgent. As I left, I couldn't help glancing back. She smiled and waved at me. I felt happy and a little disappointed. Disappointed that she didn't recognize me. Happy that I'd gotten to know her all over again tonight. I often wonder, if Isabel knew how calculated I'd been, would she hate me? Even that Jianbing stall at her complex gate had been a mission I grabbed. I'd been so nervous I made her terrible Jianbing. Truth is, I can actually cook. Later, she called to report someone being illegally detained and asking her for help. I was so startled I knocked over my cup at work. I was terrified those people would find her. More terrified they'd lash out at her in desperation. Thank God Isabel was smart, hiding until I rushed over. I'd wanted to talk with her more, but the neighborhood aunties were just too enthusiastic. I wanted to invite Isabel to the amusement park, the one she'd always wanted to go to. But I couldn't find a reason. Just then, Jack toddled over with his notebook. "Brother, will you read me a story?" I stood up instantly. The housekeeper was cooking, so I said, "Auntie, didn't you say your niece's wedding is tomorrow?" She paused. "Yeah, but I already told her I can't go." I said, "How could you miss your niece's wedding? Take the day off tomorrow. I'll cover your travel expenses." Back in my room, I pulled out my phone and texted Isabel, "Are you free tomorrow?" Thanks to Jack, I now had a perfectly legitimate excuse to call Isabel my girlfriend. Even if it was pretend, it made me happy. Isabel told me the story of saving a troubled kid back in high school. I didn't say a word, just watched her quietly. She said she believed that boy must be doing well now. She was right. After all, I have an adorable little brother now, and I've found the girl I've liked for so many years. My life really is good. Before we parted, I gave her back the scarf she'd once given me. No other reason. I just wanted, for once, to be brave in front of her. I'm ready to confess to her. Isabel's POV, staring at the old scarf on my bed. I blanked out, thought about everything, yet nothing made sense. How could life be this dramatic? Jason was the troubled boy I once saved. This world is too surreal. I flopped back onto the bed, eyes on the ceiling, head spinning. In the end, one thought remained. Jason's younger than me, and I've been harboring feelings for him? Isabel, you're something else. I couldn't figure out what Jason meant at all. Did he recognize me from the start? Did he keep it from me on purpose, just to mess with me? Damn it, the more I thought, the angrier I got. I yanked the blanket over my head, shut my eyes, and fell asleep. I ended up sleeping right through 10 calls from Jason. The next morning, I managed to wake up with a stiff neck, staring at all those missed calls. I hesitated a long time, but decided to ignore them. Yep, I was still mad. All morning at work, I sat with my neck tilted, until a coworker finally asked, "Isabel, what's wrong with your neck?" I forced a smile. "Slept wrong." She gave me a sympathetic look. "There's a new massage place downstairs. You should try it." She handed me a flyer. It boasted about their techniques like crazy. I was a little tempted. During lunch break, I went to the address on the flyer. The staff was super friendly, grabbed my hand, and called me little sister. I couldn't resist, and ended up buying a package. Lying on the massage bed, the woman massaging me started chattering non-stop. "Little sister, I'll do some cupping and moxibustion for you. Your neck will be fine." I was half asleep. Sure." The music playing was a bit harsh. I mumbled. "Could you change the music?" She paused. "You don't like J. Cho?" I shook my head. "Not that I just don't want anything with heavy beats. Okay?" By the time I woke up, she was done. And I had to admit, my neck felt much better. At the counter, the receptionist smiled. "Miss, your total is 30,000. Card or cash? You could have just robbed me, but instead you gave me cupping?" I let out a disbelieving laugh. "Sweetie, this is a scam shop, huh?" Her smile dropped. "Miss, you already enjoyed the service. You can't just refuse to pay." Ha! She looked more wronged than me. Did I really look that gullible? I set my bag down and glared down at her. "My boyfriend's a cop. You really gonna scam me?" She smirked. "And my boyfriend's a precinct chief. Who can't bluff?" Ugh, these girls these days so infuriating. I was just about to unleash my silver tongue when chaos suddenly erupted in the back of the shop. Chickens and dogs practically flying. The receptionist jumped, instinctively reaching for the phone, but someone snatched it away. "Don't move, squat down." She squatted. I squatted. What the hell? I just came for some cupping. Then some half-dressed people were marched out by the police. Just my luck, of course I'd stumble right into this. As a cop passed, I hurried to explain. "Officer, I swear I only came for cupping. Didn't do anything else. Can I go?" He looked at me, and his eyes suddenly lit up. That look, what was that supposed to mean? I saw him pull a colleague aside, whispering who knows what. Every now and then, they glanced my way. I felt like a monkey in a zoo. "It's her, right?" "Looks like it." One of the cops grinned at me. "Just wait here a minute." The other one walked straight inside and shouted down the hall, "Jason, come out here, your girlfriend's here." I wanted to die. Who else but me could manage to get cupping done and end up in a police station? In the end, Jason walked me out of there. Covering my face, I just wanted to escape, but he grabbed me by the collar and tugged me back. "Watch where you're going." We sat on a bench by the roadside. For a while, neither of us spoke, until Jason finally broke the silence. "Don't you have anything you want to ask me?" Since he asked, I answered honestly. "Yeah, that troubled kid who grew up. If you don't mind, could you tell me about it?" Jason looked up at the sky, frowning slightly. "Let me think. That year was 2012, the hardest year of my life. I failed my high school entrance exams. My family went bankrupt. My dad was driven to jump off a building. My mom got depression and spent every day thinking of killing herself." He turned to me. "That night, she tried. I pulled her back. While she was being resuscitated in the hospital, I went to that bridge and met you." I stared at him, stunned. I'd never known his past was that dark. Jason exhaled. "You cursed me awake." I blinked in confusion. Back then, I'd done nothing but hurl profanity. Was it because I cursed like his mom? Jason said when he got into college, his mom remarried. By then, her depression had improved a lot. "So, Jack is?" "My mom's child with my stepfather." He smiled. "They went traveling recently, so they left Jack with me." I nodded, understanding. Jason studied me. "Anything else you want to ask?" I held up 3 fingers. "3 more," he chuckled. "Go ahead." Me. "How old are you really?" Him. 25. Thank God. I breathed a sigh of relief. I was only 3 years older. Older women worth their weight in gold, right? Looked like we were a perfect match. I cleared my throat. "Second question. Just now, at that massage place, why did your colleague say I was your girlfriend?" "That had been bugging me." Jason paused, then realization dawned. "Oh, that. Just a misunderstanding." He pulled out his wallet. Tucked inside was a teenage girl's photo ID. I stared for a second, expressionless, then reached to snatch it. Damn it, wasn't that clueless, wide-eyed girl. Me? Jason dodged slightly, and with the momentum, I fell right into his arms. It was like I'd been burned. I jumped up immediately. "Why do you have my photo?" he said. "That time, you tossed me your wallet and left. This photo was tucked inside. One of my co-workers saw it once and insisted you were my girlfriend. I tried explaining, but they didn't believe me. So in the end, who was taking advantage of who? And your last question." I turned to him, eyes earnest. "That 100 yuan you owed me, when are you paying it back?" Jason froze, then suddenly laughed. Under the streetlight, he looked dazzling. "Hold out your hand." I opened my palm in front of him. He took my hand. "Well, do you think I'm worth 100? My mind blanked. Reflexively, I blurted, "Does that mean I can do whatever I want?" Silence. Silence across the bridge tonight. His palm was hot, his gaze burning. I squirmed, ready to laugh it off, when Jason spoke. "Isabel, will you be my girlfriend?" I nearly jumped. So blunt, what was I supposed to do? What? If I'm your girlfriend, I get to do whatever I want with you. I forced myself to counter, but he calmly nodded, which was way too tempting. I couldn't keep it together. Somehow I stumbled back home in a daze. Tonight was magical. Me, a lifelong single golden girl, suddenly I had a boyfriend. Ha 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 ha. I woke up laughing 3 times in the night. At work the next day, I dragged in with 2 black circles under my eyes. My coworker gasped. Isabel, you haven't been sleeping well, huh? Yesterday, a stiff neck. Today, those dark circles. I grinned. It's fine, ha ha ha. She blinked. But you sure seem in a good mood. Near quitting time, she called out to me. Remember that friend of mine I tried to set you up with? I didn't. I only remembered that during my desperate for love phase, I added a ton of people my coworkers introduced. But in the end, I hadn't wanted to bother with any of them. Why? I asked. She was excited. My friend happens to be in Huangjiang today. He wants to meet you. I smiled faintly. Sorry. I already have a boyfriend. My coworker froze. I added, he's a police officer. Gorgeous. 6'1", killer body. God, bragging about a boyfriend felt so good. Coworker, you're just showing off. Me. Honestly, I don't even want to talk to people without boyfriends. After work, as I walked out of the building, a stranger stopped me. Miss Isabel. Hello. I'm Jiang Bin. Damn it. Why hadn't my coworker told me he was waiting downstairs? I forced a smile. Can I help you? He was polite enough. I was hoping to treat you to dinner. Do you have time? Sorry, I've got plans later, so... Before I could finish, he grabbed my arm and yanked me toward the corner. What the hell? Why so handsy? Jiang Bin explained. Sorry, I just saw a guy nearby watching you suspiciously. I instinctively turned to look, but before I could, someone bumped into me hard from behind. I lost my balance, falling backward. Thank God someone caught me by the waist, pulling me back upright. I looked up into Jason's face, just inches away. I was stunned. Jiang Bin still tried to tug me. Sir, let go of her. Jason gave him a glance, then pulled me aside. He flipped out his badge. I have some business with this lady. Please cooperate. The phrasing was a little odd, but Jiang Bin left anyway faster than a rabbit. I shot Jason a look. You're ruthless. He smiled, tugging my hand. What do you want to eat? Dinner's on me. Later, I brought Jason home to meet my parents. They were downright relieved I'd found someone before 30. They grabbed Jason's hand. Oh, Isabel must have been a handful for you. She's been stubborn since she was little. Please bear with her. I stared at them, deadpan. Never seen parents roast their own daughter like this. But I had clearly underestimated them. They spilled every embarrassing story of my childhood. Climbing a tree for persimmons at 7 and getting stuck, knocking out a front tooth in a fight at 10, selling homework answers at 15 and getting publicly scolded. My mum even added, at 17, she was too scared to come home and spent the night out. Picked up a stray dog, blew 2 weeks' allowance on it. That part was supposed to be secret. Too late. My dad chimed in. Yeah, she even gave that dog the scarf her mum bought her. The kid's not too bright, but she does have a good heart. Jason smiled at me. Stray dog? I was speechless. No clue how to explain. Facing their 3 pairs of eyes, I collapsed to my knees. I've sinned deeply. Let me kowtow in apology. After I explained everything, my parents' reaction shocked me. My mum held Jason's hand, eyes misty. Child, you've suffered. My dad patted his shoulder, emotional. From now on, we're family. Warm and cozy. What a loving family. Except, I was the outsider. God, maybe I shouldn't have brought Jason home.